And thank you to all of you who've been patient with me while I have been talking about doing this video for probably about a year at this point. I've been kind of teasing you, but here we are. You finally know how to do it. You're finally able to do it because you've been waiting on me. Why am I shooting full power buckshot out of this? This is just for a video. All right, well, I'm about to ruin my day. These are some full power slugs. But first, before we talk about that, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Delete Me. Delete Me is a service that I've paid for over 3 years before signing up with them. You've probably heard me talk about them before. What they do is they go through the internet and scrub your personal information. Do me a favor, when this video is over, type in your name and your address, or your name and the city you live in, your name or your phone number, and just see what kind of information pops up. You would be surprised with how easy it is to find your address, your family's names and addresses, your phone number, your family's contact information. A lot of information is on the internet that you probably don't want people getting a hold of. The reason I started paying for this was because a very well-intentioned person saw a video of mine, had some concerns, and they looked me up on the internet and called me while I was at dinner with my wife. That was an eye-opener for me. I realized at that moment that I needed to do a better job of protecting myself, and there are too many websites on the internet constantly uploading your data for me personally to spend the time. It would take me like 30 hours a month to just remove it from the most easily accessible. Delete Me takes all the work out of it, makes it significantly easier for you to stay safe on the internet, and if you use the code Reno and the link in the description, you will save some money on it. Again, I've been paying for it for years, so I truly believe in this product. Thank you. Okay, so today I'm going to teach you how to do this legally in the state of California. I'm not breaking any laws, but there's a lot of hoops to jump through in order to do this without getting you put in jail. After I teach you the laws around it, I'll take you down to the tabletop in my garage where I will actually go over what exactly this is and how I did it as far as setting it up. But every time I make one of these videos, there's a lot of questions, and I think if people would choose to watch the videos, it would make it a lot easier. So please watch this video, pay attention to what I'm talking about, and you will learn a whole lot today. So we have to talk about, what is this thing first? So this is a gun that starts out its life as a 18-inch, 12-gauge other. You're probably thinking, Reno, that's a shotgun. Well, let's get into some definitions. This is what you got to start with if you want to do it the route that I did. If you want to go the route of just getting one of these from a gun store in the state of California, you're going to need to go to one of the few shops in this state that's willing to do it. If you want to get one of these guns, you're going to have to start out with one of these, and we'll give you more and more information as we go along. So let's talk about some definitions of various types of firearms in this state. We have rifles, pistols, shotguns, and then we have firearms that are not classified as one of those three, but are still a firearm. So if we take a look here, Penal Code 16530, I hope that this is big enough for you to read. As used in this part, the terms firearms capable of being concealed upon the person, pistol and revolver, apply to and include any device designed to be used as a weapon from which is expelled a projectile by the force of any explosion or any other form of combustion. And that has a barrel length 16 inches in length. These terms also include any device that has a barrel length 16 inches or more in length, which is designed to be interchanged with a barrel less than 16 inches in length. So generally what that means is in order for it to be a pistol, it has to have a barrel length of 16 inches or less, right? Pistol, 16-inch barrel or smaller. And then it also says, nothing shall prevent a device defined as a firearm capable of concealed upon the person, pistol or revolver, from also being found to be a short-barreled rifle or short-barreled shotgun. That's concerning, right? It can be both a pistol and it can be an SBR or a short-barreled shotgun. That's not good. Handgun means the exact same thing as this. It's basically mirroring it and saying handgun means the same thing. So in order for it to be a pistol or a handgun or whatever, the barrel length has to be less than 16 inches. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Reno, the Mossberg Just In Case or the Maverick Cruiser has an 18-inch barrel. You'd be correct. But let's first get to here. The shotgun definition in the penal code of 17190, blah, 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 blah. Shotgun means a weapon designed or redesigned, made or remade, and intended to be fired from the shoulder and is designed or redesigned and made or remade to use the energy of an explosive in a fixed shotgun shell through a smooth bore, either a number of projectiles or a single projectile for each pull of the trigger. So basically, shotgun, smooth bore, intended to be shouldered or designed to be shouldered or made or remade to be shouldered. Smooth bore, shouldered, shotgun shell. Those three things make something a shotgun. Well, the Mossberg Cruiser doesn't come with a stock in the box. It's never had a stock on it, and you've never put a stock on it, and you've never intended to put a stock on it. So it can't be a shotgun, even though it fires shotgun shells. It's also not a pistol because the barrel length is over 16 inches. So what the heck is it? Well, it would be considered an other firearm, a firearm that is not a rifle, not a pistol, not a shotgun, just a firearm. So when this thing is transferred to you in the state of California, it should be transferred to you as a other firearm, not a shotgun, not a pistol, not a rifle, just an other firearm. That's how it should be drossed to you in order to go this route. Now, we need to talk about the state's short-barreled shotgun and short-barreled rifle ban. Federally, there is the NFA. Many of you might be aware of that. We're going to touch on that just a smidge. Shotguns, federally, if the barrel length is under 18 inches or the overall length is under 26 inches, that would be a short-barreled shotgun. If the barrel length is under 18 inches, but the overall length is over 26 inches, that could be considered an any other weapon. As long as it never had a stock, it did not start its life with a stock on it, that's what it is, right? It's a little confusing, mostly irrelevant, because the way that we have to do it in the state of California ensures that we don't break the NFA stuff. So in the state of California, they have their own short-barreled shotgun ban. The SBR and SBS ban, if you look at Penal Code 16590, this is used for generally prohibited weapons. It covers a lot of things. S on that list is a short-barreled rifle or short-barreled shotgun as defined, as prohibited by Section 33215. Section 33215 says, except as provided, blah, 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 lends, gives, possesses any short-barreled rifle or short-barreled shotgun is punishable by imprisonment in a county jail not exceeding 1 year of imprisonment pursuant to Subdivision 8. Short-barreled shotguns are banned. Breaking that ban means you go to jail. That's bad. What is a short-barreled shotgun in the state of California? Skip to 17180. 17170 is the rifle ban, but I'm just going to show that on screen just for a second. You can pause. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Section 17180. As used in this part, a short-barreled shotgun means any of the following. A firearm that is designed or redesigned to fire a fixed shotgun shell and has a barrel or barrels of less than 18 inches in length. Well, that's a problem, right? A firearm that has an overall length of less than 26 inches and is designed or redesigned to fire a fixed shotgun shell. That seems like a problem. Any weapon made from a shotgun, whether by alteration, modification, or otherwise, if that weapon as modified has an overall length of less than 26 inches or a barrel or barrels of less than 18 inches in length. Well, Reno, this is like all this stuff that we exactly want to do, right? Don't worry. Any device that can be readily restored to fire a fixed shotgun shell, which when so restored is a device defined in subdivisions A through C. Any device or combination of parts designed and intended to convert a device into a device, basically saying all the parts. If you have them, it could be one of those things that is illegal. To summarize, it is illegal to possess a short-barreled shotgun or short-barreled rifle as defined by the state of California, not the feds. Well, what's the punishment? You can go to jail for a year. That's bad. Well, what is a short-barreled shotgun? It seems like it's exactly the thing that we want to do. I'm sorry if I'm talking a little sarcastic here. It's just I'm trying to keep you engaged because there's a lot that can get forgotten. So, short-barreled shotguns are illegal. You can go to jail for a year. We figured out what a short-barreled shotgun is and realized that's a problem because I want exactly the thing that it's saying I can't have. The AOW exemption. 17.710. The provisions listed in 16.590. Well, what was 16.590? 16.590 was the generally prohibited weapons that said short-barreled shotguns are illegal. The provisions listed in section 16.590 do not apply to any other weapon as defined in the federal government laws. Not a lawyer, not legal advice. This is not intended to be a comprehensive guide, just an overview for you to understand. So, if you have a firearm that is legally registered with the NFA as in any other weapon, and it could legally have been in any other weapon, and it's in that configuration of the any other weapon, so you get the stamp legally through the right process, you configure it as in any other weapon. When it is stamped and configured as in any other weapon, it is exempt from Penal Code 16.590. What is an any other weapon in the context of little short 12 gauge boys? What do I gotta do? What would make it an any other weapon? For the sake of simplicity, again, remember, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. I'm talking about this one specific configuration that if you wanted to do, you would have to follow the steps that we'll get to a T. And you'd first probably want to consult with a lawyer or an expert, which I am not claiming to be. An AOW, in this context, we have a smooth bore firearm designed to fire shotgun shells. It had a barrel length of over 18 inches. Now it has a barrel length of about 10 inches. I think this is about 10 and a half. This has a short barrel that is below 18 inches. It has never in its life had a stock on it. This is a brace. This brace folds. It has a barrel length of under 18 inches. The NFA measures the overall length of an any other weapon when the brace or stock or whatever it is in the shortest configuration. The overall length of this here with the muzzle device taken off, because this is not included in the overall length since it is not pinned and welded. Wow, I forget how tight these threads are. The overall length of this little thing right here is under 26 inches. The barrel length is under 18 inches. It is not intended to be fired from the shoulder, and it is intended to be fired with two hands. You don't really need the vertical foregrip on this. I just think it's a better thing, and because of the way that this is so small, you're very limited in space of what you can physically put up here. It's got a tax stamp on it. This is exempt from the state of California's SBS, short-barreled shotgun ban. And because it is federally compliant with the NFA, I do not have any NFA concerns. And because the brace issue federally seems to be mostly solved or not an issue currently, it is not considered a stock. It is not intended to be fired from the shoulder. You might be asking yourself, well, what about the assault weapon ban? Well, this gun, when it comes to the assault weapon ban, is technically a pistol, I think. It gets a little complicated. But if we look here, semi-automatic pistol, this isn't semi-auto, so we don't have to worry about that. Shotgun, a semi-automatic shotgun, but it isn't a shotgun because the barrel length is under 16 inches. It's never had a stock. It can't be a shotgun per the state's definition. It could be a short-barreled shotgun, technically. In fact, it is, according to the state of California, a short-barreled shotgun, but it's legal to possess. But since the shotgun laws for the assault weapon ban, we'll just go over it for the sake of it. Semi-automatic, this is not a semi-automatic shotgun. It is not. And any shotgun with a revolving cylinder, this has none of those, so it's no concern there. It is not a semi-automatic pistol, so A through D do not apply. A semi-automatic pistol with it's again, not semi-auto. We're not semi-auto, so we don't really gotta worry about most of the assault weapon ban stuff. If we look at the DOJ's regulations when it comes to what is a pistol, again, barrel less than 16 inches, so we don't gotta worry about that, right? It is also not an other per the state's definition when it comes to the assault weapon ban because the barrel length is less than 16 inches. So it's not an assault weapon in this configuration as I have it. I don't got to worry about that. We've covered most of the laws. Now let's talk the actual process of how you would even begin to think about doing this. Well, you're going to have to start with an 18-inch pistol grip only shotgun, but it's actually an other. So you start out with an 18-inch, 12-gauge, smooth bore, other firearm. If it ever had a stock on it, and I'm talking ever, or if the stock comes in the box, you may not do this. You basically have to start with your 12-gauge Mossberg just in case, or a Maverick 88 Cruiser. 18 inches, pistol grip only, go to the gun store, acquire one of those, step one is complete. You may add a folding brace if desired. Folding, not fixed, folding, because eventually we need the overall length to be under 26 inches. If this brace was fixed on there, there's some confusion around whether or not that extra length would be considered part of the overall length, which could push it over the 26-inch minimum. So I'm going to say, for the sake of being safe, not a lawyer, not legal advice, don't take my advice ever, if you want to add a brace, make sure it's folded. Must not be a fixed brace is my personal opinion. If the brace is fixed, the overall length is going to have to stay below 26 inches, but you got your other firearm, right? Now we're going to get a tax stamp as an AOW, any other weapon. Since this firearm is already in your possession, you're doing a Form 1, not a Form 4. A Form 4 is when you go to a gun store and then you leave with the AOW. We're doing a Form 1 because we have a firearm and we're converting it into a different configuration. So, Form 1, this firearm eventually will get a tax stamp. I'm not going to cover all the details on how to get a tax stamp because that would be its own video, and that's just not my realm of expertise. If you look it up on the internet, there's plenty of guides, both in video and written form, for you to do it. Once you get your tax stamp, you're going to have to engrave it per the ATF requirements. And then, after it's engraved, you can configure it as an AOW. Again, after the stamp is approved, engrave it, and then configure it as in any other weapon. Here's two examples. This one is a pistol grip only, so it does not have the extended length grip over here. Pistol grip only. This has about a 15-inch barrel. Basically, they cut from the end here of this barrel, just cut it right at the magazine tube. Easy. Any monkey with a hacksaw could do this. Vertical pistol grip means that you're not adding a bunch of length to the rear, like with the Raptor style grips. So this is one configuration. Easy. Anyone can do it. This on the left is another configuration that is going to require some serious work. The overall length needs to be below 26 inches. The barrel needs to be under 18 inches. Realistically, it also needs to be below 16 inches as well. If the overall length goes above 26 inches, while the barrel is under 18 inches, you have broken the state of California law. So if the overall length of the gun does not get below 26 inches, the feds no longer really consider it a configured in an AOW configuration, which is part of the exemption. The exemption needs to be one, that you have the tax stamp, and then two, that you have it configured as the AOW. So that's the process. Start with your 18-incher. Make sure it never had a stock, didn't come with a stock in the box. Make sure the gun store drosses it to you as an other firearm. Add a folding brace if you like. I don't care. You could wait to do this later also. Get your tax stamp as a Form 1. This might take about 40 days, might take longer, who knows. Engrave it per the ATF requirements after getting the tax stamp, and then after engraving, configure it as an AOW. This is going to be the hard part if you want to go really, really short. Make sure the overall length stays under 26 inches. Make sure the barrel goes under 18 inches. Make sure it is always configured as an AOW. Make sure that the tax stamp is good to go. Now, let's take you over to the garage and we'll talk about my specific firearm for you. Let's chat about this little guy right here. Showing you some details. I've had this Cerakoted. That's obviously the least important detail of them all, but I mean, I think you got a good idea. This is about a little bit over 10-inch barrel. It fits 3 rounds into the tube. So let's just go ahead. These are dummy rounds. These are not real. 3 rounds into the tube. It does not fit a 4th round in there. I've got a little device in here, a little doohickey, that is supposed to allow it to feed mini shells, but I've not ran any mini shells through this gun. This gun started its life as a 12 gauge Maverick 88 Cruiser model, I believe it was, which is an 18-inch pistol grip only firearm. It does not come with a stock in the box. I have never placed a stock on it. At no point in time have I ever intended for this to be fired with a shoulder stock on it. This has a few things on it that make it very interesting to me. All of the custom work of cutting, welding, all that jazz was done by a local gunsmith to me who wished to not be named because this is not something that he typically does, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. There are places online that you may be able to have this done, but the gun started its life as a 12 gauge 12 gauge other firearm from Maverick, the Maverick 88. It's got a Picatinny rail added to the top of it. It has a cheapo Primary Arms Classic Series red dot on it. The barrel is threaded so that it can attach this spiky muzzle device, which is rather aggressive. I don't know if I'm going to end up keeping this or taking it off and just cutting it off. We will see. I've got to get more time through this gun. The rear adapter is from KE Arms. This allows you to attach any pistol grip for an AR-15 to it. Got a Magpul XL grip. The folding foregrip, I believe, is from MFT. It's not that nice. There's probably nicer grips on the market, but it folds nice. And that's really what was most important, because it's important for the vibes to have the pistol grip, but then if I wanted to fold it up, make it real compact, you know, I got the perfect home defense firearm. Just kidding. This gun is just fun. It's fun is what it is. The brace is an airsoft brace. The JMac knockoff folder is an airsoft. If you watch Desk Pop's video about it, you'll know what this is. They did a video on this, and then I ended up acquiring one of those as well. All in all, this gun is pretty simple. It's a 12 gauge pump action that had some work by a gunsmith to cut this down. Now, this is really what's most important. This KE Arms grip adapter allows you to run a pistol grip and a Picatinny rail, which allows you to get the overall length down a significant amount. So I'm really thankful that they sent that out to me. Otherwise, I gotta say thank you to a few people. One, my groomsmen from my wedding, who actually gifted the actual 12 gauge Maverick 88 to me back in 2021. I finally got around to doing it. It just took forever for me to finally do it. So thank you to the boys. This wouldn't be possible without you, because I probably would have never actually gone through with it and done it. Other than that, I paid full price for everything. Blackbeard Frameworks did the Cerakote, and my gunsmith did not want to be named, but he knows that I appreciate him. We had some plans and those kind of fell through, and then he was able to pick up the pieces where some other people left us hanging. So I gotta say thank you to him, because that was awesome. And thank you to all of you who've been patient with me while I have been talking about doing this video for probably about a year at this point. I've been kind of teasing you, but here we are. You finally know how to do it. You're finally able to do it because you've been waiting on me. You know, I hope this was educational. I hope this was entertaining. I hope that you take this video and it inspires you to learn more about the law, so you can learn what you can do that the DOJ does not want you to know that you can do. This is a cool project. The gun is sick as hell. It is not the most pleasant thing in the world to shoot, but it's sick. And ultimately, that's all that matters. Looking cool is the most important part of gun ownership. How funny would that be if that just blew up the fucking camera?